Good afternoon, everyone. Again, I'm back again. And this one I am doing Edward Spreitzer. Edward Spreitzer is one of the gang members from the Chicago Ripper or the Ripper Crew, and I'll be talking about Edward, but basically I will be talking about the whole gang. So otherwise, Andrew's other ones are Andrew Colalis, Thomas Colalis, and Robin Keach. And there was a bunch of gangs that terrorized normally Chicago area. Group of serial killers, rapists, sexual assaults, necrophiliacs, cannibals. Group was composed of all these boys that they had. They suspect they're suspected as more than 15 murders of women and plus one male. And so 18, let's say. And so, uh, so the so the detectives were investigating the whole gang. So he he is the one of the uh, gang members that actually abducted and raped and killed Linda Sutton, and they mutilated a lot of her bodies, a lot of their bodies. They slashed their breasts and everything. And they abducted me, Mac, and Edward Spreitzer is, I guess I would say second command of the gang. So I don't know. So first victim was a 28-year-old Linda Sutton, who was abducted on May 23rd, 1981. 10 days later, found his body in the fields of Park Villa, Illinois. Her body was found been mutilated and left the breast amputated. It was almost a year before the gang struck again. On May 15th, 1982, they abducted a realtor lady who was just about to open the door of her business that she owns. Her name is Lorraine Borowski, and they abducted her. They found her body discovered 5 months later in the cemetery and Handover in Clasdon Hills. On March 27th, they abducted Shermack. Her body was not found 4 months later. 2 weeks after they abducted Mac, they picked up Angel York in their van, handcuffed and slashed her breast before throwing her out the van. She's still alive. York's description of the attackers failed to produce any description of her attackers, failed to any leads. The gang uh, the gang did not strike again until 2 months after. Discovered on August 28, 1982. The body of Sandra Delaware was discovered on the bank of Chicago River. She had been stabbed, strangled, and her breast left amputated. On September 8th, 31-year-old Rosa Davis was found in an alley having suffered almost identical injuries as Delaware. On October 6, 1982, the gang shot a 20-year-old Raphael Tarot, the local drug dealer. One of them was friends, 18-year-old Alberto Rosa, at the phone booth at in a random drive-by shooting, according to Spreitzer. He was with Geach at the time. The older man told him to aim to slow down. Geach took two guns back of his car, told Spreitzer to stop at the car at the red light, opened fire on Tiro and Rosiana, hitting both of them. Rosiana survived his injuries, while Toretto succumbed to his injuries. At a hospital, Toretto was the gang's only male victim. That saved that same day, the gang committed their final crime. Robin Gitch alone lured the prostitute Beverly Washington into a car by offering more money than what she was asking for. She was found by the railroad tracks. In addition of other injuries, left her breast had been amputated. The other survived attack and was able to give description of Gitch's well as the van where the attacker took place. Then on a separate in the desperate of Corral Pappas, wife of wife of a Chicago Cub, Milt Pappas. She disappeared on September 11, 1982. Her body was recovered 5 years later and called ruled an accident. When Gitch was first arrested, he held to be released. He had to be released by police as insignificant evidence to connect him to the crimes. After further investigations, though, the police discovered that in 1981 he had rented a room in a motel with three friends, each of their adjoining rooms with hotel mansion. Manager said that they had held loud parties and appeared to be involved in some kind of cult. Robin and his first arrested in October 20, 1982, after his own van was connected by police on October 6th attack. Several days later, Gitch posted bond and was then the other men, Edward Spreitzer and the Corlelis brothers. Gitch was later indicted and ordered to be held on $1 million bond. Andrew Corlelis was arrested on November 7th, and he had Spreitzer confessed to up to 17 murders. 3 days later, they were indicted and ordered to held without bond. Thomas Corlelis was arrested on November 12th. In negotiation, he confessed to the others led the taken women back to Getch's place, what Getch called a Satan chapel. There they raped and tortured the women and amputated their breasts with a wire guillotine. Corlelis went to say that they would eat parts of the severed breast and kindly as sacrament, and Gitch would masturbate on the breasts before putting them into boxes. Corlelis claimed he had seen 15 breasts in a box of gang. Gitch, the only member of the gang to maintain his innocence, was later was released for lack of evidence murders due to a lack of evidence. 1983, he was convicted of attack murder, aggravated kidnapping, depraved sexual assault, and rape for the non-fatal rape of assault of Beverly Washington. To Gitch was sentenced to 120 years in prison. Before sentencing, Gitch Judge Finance told him that the only devil would do this, an animal would not do this, a monster would. He pointed out that Gitch had left Washington for dead and was lucky not to be tried for murder. Gitch was serving a 122-year sentence to Danville Correction Center. His next parole hearing is October 10th, 2042, when he'll be only 88 years old. In 1984, Spreitzer and and when he will be 88, 1984, Spreitzer, in a bid for leniency, pleaded guilty to murder to the death of Shane Mack, Rose Davis, and Sandy Delaware, and Raphael Deloro as part of an attempted murder of aggravated kidnapping, deviant sexual assault, and rape. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. In 1986, Spreitzer was convicted of murder and aggravated kidnapping and death of Linda Sutton. The prosecution sought the death sentence. During the sentence phase, the Spreitzer attorney, Carol Alvison, argued that Spreitzer was immature, impulsive, and simply was a follower, following his orders of his boss, gang leader Robin Gitch. She described as the lonely prison person who would do almost anything for his friends. For prosecuting, described Spreitzer as every woman's nightmare, calling the gang cowardly weasels who roamed in packs to prey on women. Spreitzer was sentenced cowardly weasels who roamed in packs to prey on women. Spreitzer was sentenced to death. In 2003, Spreitzer's sentence was commuted to life in prison without parole. After Governor R. Ryan commented a sentence for every on death row in Illinois, in exactly Andrew Colovis was Governor Ryan's only execution. Let me turn this on. So, sorry, I just didn't think I was that blind. And I'm not that smart either. So, just over 2 months into his administration, Andrew was the last inmate executed in Illinois. Almost 12 years before Governor Pat Quinn signed legislation to abolish the death penalty in March 9th, 2011, and commuted 15 death sentences to life in prison without parole. In 1985, Andrew Corrales was convicted of murder, aggravated kidnapping, and rape, and and in the death of Rose Davis. The prosecution sought the death sentence. During the sentencing phase, Andrew's attorney said his client had been following not an organizer, not the prime mover of Davis murders, and the jury spared Andrew's life. After deliberation for 90 minutes, and he was sentenced to life in prison without parole. On March 18, 1987, Andrew was convicted of murder of aggravated kidnapping in the death of Lorraine Bogwowski. He was sentenced to death on April 30th, 1987, and executed by lethal injection on March 17th, 1999. He declined to be he declined the last meal, and Andrew's last words were to the Bogwowskis family. I am truly sorry for what your loss. I mean in sincerity. He then cited verses from the Bible, looking for Exodus and Proverbs, and added, "Repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand." Thomas Gorowski was convicted of murder and rape in the death of Lorraine Borowski, according to a reward for in prison. Nice reward there, dumbass. Convicted, reverted to the one a new trial for murder of rather than Thomas pleaded. Thomas pleaded guilty to Borowski's murder to exchange for a 70-year sentence. Charges and murders Sutton and Linda were dismissed as part of the plea deal. Thomas was scheduled to be paroled in September 30th, 2017, but was denied after he failed to approve place to live. He was released from prison in March 2019 of his June. As June of 2019, Thomas lives at a Wayhouse Cross Ministries at New York in Illinois. And at Canada with WBBM-TV, Thomas proclaims his innocence, saying, "Everybody thinks I'm a monster. I'm not a monster." According to the IPS Sex Offenders Registry website of the 2024, Caritas currently resides in Forty, Illinois. At the time of his arrest, Thomas Gorowski was a painter in a no criminal record. He is described as having a borderline range of intelligence with an IQ of 75. 19 in March 1999, Robin Gitch's son, 18-year-old David Gitch, was charged with first-degree murder of a gangland killing of Robert Cruz, 35. And January 29, 1999, the Northwest Chicago brothers men, 17-year-old Richard Quell and 27-year-old Ruben Hernandez, was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 45 years in prison. Richard Quell, a lookout, was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 30 years in prison, and was paroled date of March 1st, 2029. And Hernandez was planned the conviction, shooting, and convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 60 years in prison. He has a parole date of December 12, 2059. All men were all serving their sentences at the Correctional Center on May 25th, 2022. David Kirch was granted a new trial. And that's Edward Spreitzer. Right, okay. You guys have a good day. Thank you very much.